Good evening everybody and welcome to this, the largest fireside chat since the Great Fire of London in 1666. There are 4 of us here now, there will be 6 a little bit later. Jamie, Scott, James, Hayden, Pieter and Brent on their way from the various sightings that they've been looking at throughout this magnificent wonderland that we are privileged to call home. We're going to be focusing on wild dogs mostly for the course of this little drive. We've got 3 interesting little clips to show you. And then we're going to go from the wild dogs to the old dogs of, well, oldish. Hayden and Pieter, they will be discussing various bits and pieces about how they feel and how it feels to be back here on Djuma in the western sector of the Sabi Sands. So, if you have any questions for us, please remember we are taking your questions. # Safari Live if you're tweeting like the great spotted cuckoo that has just flown over our heads. Otherwise, you can send questions to questions at wildearth.tv. And we will attempt to answer your queries, mainly in relation to wild dogs, but if you happen to... There's some impala running around in the background there. So we'll go ahead, sorry, I've lost my mind completely now. Questions
you
about...
haven't lost your mind.
No, possibly I have.
Train of thought, maybe.
Questions about wild dogs. If you would like to ask any other questions about the reserve or anything like that, that's absolutely fine. And then, well, obviously personal questions of Hayden and Pieter are not too personal in nature. They don't like to share all of their secrets with you. So that's the story going forward now. Now we're going to go to a brief advert break. So those of you on TV, sorry for you, you're going to miss out on 5 minutes of it. And when we get back, we'll show you the major action from the wild dogs and their amazing activities here at Djuma. We'll see you just after the break. Right, so everybody on the internet, I know that must have looked a little bit strange, but here we go again. We're going to go straight into an incredible wild dog sighting that Tebbs and I had the other day, where a impala decided that instead of running, it was going to use its brain, and I will just go through what happened. I think it was absolutely incredible after you've seen it. Take a look. Kill. That dog just ran straight past the impala here. The impala lay down and ran away. The dogs have gone through here. This is unbelievable. I can't believe that impala just lay down. It was so brilliant. It just lay down behind a bush and the dog ran straight past. I really thought that impala was a total goner. And it's so interesting, you know, impala, they don't alarm call when they see dogs, they just run. So when they see a leopard or something like that, they alarm call. When they see dogs. What's that? Here we go, the impala running again. Impala on the run. Stopping. More coming down from here. Here they come. Yeah, they're dogs. Here come the dogs. Here come the dogs. Wasn't that just absolutely astonishing? And you guys have both seen the clip, or all of you have seen the clip. I'm so used to doing it with 2, I said both instead of all. An amazing thing for an impala to do. They can't outrun wild dog. Wild dogs are probably faster. Well, they're probably equally speedy, but the wild dogs certainly have a lot more stamina than the impala do. And that impala, in the throes of what must have been an adrenaline-fueled terror, fought. Let me hide behind this log rather and let that dog run past me. It was the most amazing thing. Sorry, I believe I was looking at the wrong camera. There we go. Now I'm staring at the correct camera. Thankfully, we're just on the internet and you people will kindly forgive me. Thank you very much for that. So, amazing stuff. We don't really know... I mean, I've never seen that before. Have you ever seen something like that before?
I have not seen that before.
No, that was the first. It was incredible.
Never.
Never. So, amazing thing, nobody's ever seen that before. It might be the first recorded ever of an impala hiding behind a tree to get away from a wild dog. That dog then went on to catch yet another impala, I think probably a young female it looked like. He ate most of her on his own, came back onto quarantine clearings, fed a few of the pups. He was the only one there. unfortunately, so I don't think he managed to give them much of a meal. It was then a very dark evening, and I think they wandered off. There were some hyenas around just after that, and they managed to keep those 11 pups safe. Now, we're still in the advert break, but what a surprise. Brent, do join us. And Pieter, please come hither and join us.
Hello, buddy.
There we go. Hello, Brent.
Hello, James.
Yes.
Hello, Brenty.
That's good. Nice to stand up and just stop my bottom from the incredible spike that it is there. Right. Brent, you weren't supposed to sit there, but we'll forgive you this time. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Tiger.
There we go. Very good. Excellent. Right. Here we go. That's perfect. So, Mark in London, a very nice question. Why would that impala have done that? Mark, like I say, I think that the wild dog just has a lot more stamina than the impala. The impala realized that the dog was getting right up close, nipped behind a bush, lay down and ran away. That's the only reason I can think of. Have you ever seen that before, Brent?
Never, and I've spent a huge amount of time with dogs, and and it's an incredible behavior. One wonders how long it was chasing it before that impala got to that stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you think it was tired, perhaps?
But she was pregnant, wasn't she, as well?
I don't know.
Pregnant female. She looked pregnant.
She didn't say as she ran past you. Either that or she'd just eaten a large pudding. Peter, have you ever seen that before, where an impala would lie down behind a bush to escape a wild dog?
I watched the clip with you.
Yeah. So, everybody, it might be a first recorded example in science.
Maybe that's the next sort of evolutionary step for the impala.
Maybe it is. Hiding.
Impala.
Yes. It's quite an interesting thing, you know. Impalas are not hiders, like steenbok or duiker, and there seems to be a size thing about that. So once you get bigger than a duiker-sized animal, it makes sense to not hide anymore. It makes sense to be in a herd, where the extra vigilance will help you rather than trying to hide, and that seems to be where it is, where that's a sort of size limit, round about a bushbuck size. The thunder is rolling across the plains. Right, we're going to head across we're about to go back to the TV, and before we do that, I just want to get a quick impression, or just give you an introduction to what the clip's going to be about. We're going to watch some hyena interaction with the dogs. They are not friends at all. We're only going to watch the... Right, okay. Sorry, I was being shouted at there in my ear. Right, we have 20 more seconds to go before we'll discuss the hyena and wild dog clip. Until then, we'll enjoy the amazing storm that seems to be rolling in from behind us on the west, and the amazing rainbow we had a little bit earlier on. Right, welcome back everybody. Lovely to have you back with us. We were on the Fireside Chat. Instead of 4, there are now 6. This is the first time we've done this, as I've said to you, and so we don't know really how it's going to play out. We'll see what happens. We're going to go straight into our next wild dog clip. Now this was a clip that Scott and Jamie were privileged to be a part of. It's hyenas and one of their major enemies, the wild dogs. Take a look.
Oh, oh, oh. The adults are all up just like that. And there they go, listen to them. Oof, now it's going to be tricky. I'm just going to stay stationary so you can enjoy one last visual of this massive pack of wild dogs heading off into the thicket. And now we will try our best to follow them. Oh, what is... Oh, hyena. Hyena are in here. The pups have all run, and I'm wondering if one of the adults has made a killing here. But I can hear hyenas squealing. It could be that the wild dogs have got a hold of this hyena. Yeah, they've got a hold of it. They've got it. It doesn't know what to do. You can't do it? It really does need more clan members to arrive, otherwise I fear it is going to be killed. There's other hyena calling all around us. There are a few hyena in the general area. Well, it was an incredible start to the morning. That was probably minutes after. Actually, we hadn't even gone live yet. I think we went live a few minutes early on that side, now that I actually think about it. And it was a magical memory, looking down onto the road, seeing wild dog tracks and looking up 100 meters, and there they were. It's usually not that easy. got on the radio to Jamie to tell her to get into that area as soon as possible, and just as well we did, because within minutes those wild dogs were up and running, as you saw in the video, and all over that hyena. Interestingly enough, there were actually 2 hyena, and the pack had split up. The adults were probably about 9 or 10 of them, if I remember correctly, and 4 or 5 were on one hyena, another 4 or 5 on the other. I was actually watching one, and VM spotted another. VM was on camera, and that's the one we ended up continuing to film, because the other hyena escaped. And Jamie, you were there. I mean, you heard the audio. You didn't get to see what was happening.
It was incredible. I think I was out with Tebs. I was looking for Karula, and then putting foot down to get from quarantine to the western edge of Djuma.
Putting foot down.
Yes.
Good, yes.
Just putting it like that. And then I was just standing by. We were with the pups. We were watching sort of all 11 of them lying down, and then listening to this incredible audio and just wondering what on earth you were seeing in there.
Yeah, and that hyena got very lucky. I thought it was doomed for, and it was a major stroke of fortune that caused those wild dogs to lose focus on it temporarily. I think they were possibly looking for one of the other hyena to get stuck into again, and that gave the one hyena a moment to escape. But I really thought its time had come.
What was...
very interesting question from Dennis. Sorry, you carry on.
Sorry,
No,
Jim.
no, as you were.
What I was going to say was, as we raced there, one of the cubs came shooting out of that block and across to the den. That was an interesting aspect of the sighting that we didn't get live, but it was just a little carryover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dennis in Massachusetts, where it is freezing cold, I've no doubt. It's warm here. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Dennis. Dennis would like to know, Jamie, I think, why it is that wild dogs have such enormous ears. Is that their main sense? Do they have any other kind of main senses? Why are their ears so much bigger than all the other predators?
Well, I think it is pretty much, it's a radar dish way, and the way that they hunt, hearing those little noises and being on that as quickly as possible is the perfect way of going about it.
I'm not sure that I would have a definite answer for why they would be bigger than a hyena's ears.
I think it's possibly to do with relocating pack members once they've actually bombshelled in all different directions. They can cover many miles in such a short space of time, and probably trying to reunite afterwards is a possible theory. But Jamie's one about hearing their prey is also right up there.
And then Sandy in Indiana, a very interesting question about brown hyena. Now, Pieter, you've been here longer than most of us have, or you've been in and out longer than most of us have. Have you ever seen brown hyena here? I believe there was once a sighting on Drive.
Yeah, we had one sighting with Rex in 2008, 7, 8, somewhere there. And I think it was the first sighting. Some of the guys on sitting with us at the moment might remember, actually. First sighting in 17 years in Sabi Sands. I mean, we filmed it, so we could actually, people wouldn't be like, yeah, you two just agreeing to say so. We actually had proof of it. Both of us went just a little bit this side of bananas when we saw it. And I think it was also probably the last sighting in 17 years in Sabi Sands again. So, probably another 9 years or so, we might see another one. But I worked in Pilanesberg National Park for about 4 or 5 years, and there we see a lot of brown hyena. There's no spotted hyena, so the brown hyena activity is very active and great animals. And in fact, when I live in Namibia, we get the tracks. You don't see them, but you get the tracks on the beach. Strandwolf, beach wolf is what we call them in Afrikaans. So very different social structures. I mean, I don't think there's enough time to go into it now. Large clans, brown hyenas are more solitary operators, but they do live in big communal dens, and they bring food back all the time to them, which is one of the interesting things about brown hyenas. Cool.
And then, Scott, maybe you could ask Nina in New Mexico's question. New Mexico sounds a bit warmer than Massachusetts, I must say. Nina wants to know, when do wild dogs leave the pack? So we've got the pack of 11 puppies and 3 adults. How would that dispersal work?
That's a great question, Nina, and one that I guess will vary greatly along with a lot of different wildlife here. Each pack will have slightly different tendencies to the other, but the females will generally stay within the packs, unless occasionally they may split up with some males, and they tend to call those dispersal packs, and they may be away from their natal pack trying to work out what's going on, possibly start a pack of their own. If not, they may return to their natal pack. But I guess males would probably start leaving at around 1.5 to 2 years of age, and females, I guess, would stay with the pack for much longer generally.
And certainly that Investec pack that we see of three adults only, 2 males and 1 female and 11 pups, I guess we'd hope some of them would hang around a bit longer and make the pack a bit bigger.
Well, quite often in these circumstances, the wild dog packs only really disperse when they start pushing numbers of over 20, 25. And you normally find same-sex dispersal, so 2 females, 2 males, generally is the general number that will disperse independently, because obviously a lot of them are related, so they will disperse to try find another pack member, or to form another pack with another set of dispersals. And that's one of the big the problems facing them, because there are so few other wild dog populations around, and wild dogs turn up hundreds of kilometers from where they've been seen in 50, 60 years. 1 or 2 dogs looking for another pack.
Yeah. I find it so fascinating how the evolutionary strategies that so many animals have come up with to avoid this kind of situation. Scott's just going to stoke the fire. He's not running away. Well done, Scott. To avoid inbreeding. Certainly the lions have got amazing strategies, leopards, wild dogs as well. Okay, well, we've had word from the horse's mouth, as it were, and we're going to move on to an incredible sighting that he and Gendre had at Treehouse Dam. It's dry, there's not a lot of water out here, and the competition for moisture is very fierce. Take a look.
Oh, here we go. Elephants chasing wild dogs chasing elephants. Trumpeting pandemonium. Look at that. Isn't this incredible, guys? Oh, that elephant's really got it in for the wild dog. Fortunately, the wild dogs are a bit quicker than elephants. She's still after the wild dog. Still going. She's just come out of the drainage line behind us. Now the rest of the elephant herd are going in front of us. We've got to be very careful that we don't get in the wrong position and get misplaced aggression from the elephants that are towards the wild dogs. So this is a potentially dangerous situation. We do have to be quite careful here. So if I do want to move away, guys, you just have to bear with me. Because if the wild dogs run towards us and there's an elephant directly behind them like that, we don't want to be in the wrong spot. These elephants are obviously very upset at the moment. You can see how the elephant's tail is quite rigid when they're disturbed. Isn't that incredible? So the elephants are coming back. It seems the dogs keep choosing to run towards us. Stop it. See how they lift their heads and corral. Well, fortunately they know they're quite a bit faster than the elephants and they can move. Oh, incoming Ellie.
So that was the most incredible wild dog sighting I've had since I've been with WildEarth, and it was literally pandemonium. Dogs running here, elephants trumpeting. I was just beyond excitement. But you've got to be careful in those situations. It's very seldom that you do get misplaced aggression from an animal like an elephant while it's focusing its rage on those wild dogs. You can sort of inadvertently be in the wrong position and put yourself in a dangerous situation. So we did have to be careful of that. And I think I was too excited to feel any fear. I tend to get and start behaving like a wild dog when I see wild dogs. I start sort of shivering and running around and trying to keep up with them. They are by far my most favorite a predator. Actually, of all the animals we see out here, I do love them all dearly, but wild dogs definitely take the top for me. But it was incredible to watch how there's no actual real threat. And this ties in with what Barbara was asking. Do these animals actually kill elephant? So there's no actual real threat from a wild dog on an elephant herd, even a herd with young babies. Those elephants, with any predator, and when they've got young, they do seem to get very, very aggressive. In certain circumstances, they sometimes tease a little bit and run around, but in this circumstance I think they were just really focused on trying to cool off and get to the water, and the elephants really just didn't want them in their chasing. And I've seen wild dogs chase elephants elephants chase wild dogs many times, but never with that sort of ferocity, just charging after them. So it was really, really
possibly
fascinating.
to do with the strain of lack of water. But I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, Hayden. You've seen wild dogs, or not wild dogs, you've seen elephants chasing predators that would never normally pose them a threat. I mean, if they come across a leopard, they'll chase a leopard. If they come across lions, they'll chase lions. Hyenas, the same story. So it is interesting, and it's possibly a throwback to their evolutionary past, that they're that aggressive to something that caused harm. I just think it's fascinating.
Well, there were those running hyenas that were 3 times the size and the speed of a wild dog, and that wasn't that long ago in sort of historical terms. And those giant saber-toothed cats, and the cave lion only went extinct about 11,000 years ago, and that would have possibly been big enough to really hassle a sub-adult elephant.
And then we've got a question from Andreen. I mean, you've all seen the clip here, so I'm going to pass it to the floor. Were those dogs just playing? What were they doing? Why didn't they back off, go to another waterhole somewhere else? Why did they keep going? There was an element of entertainment around there.
Or mischief. I like to think it was mischief.
Yeah, absolutely, me too. Yeah.
They were teasing the elephants.
Yeah.
Teasing the elephants. Okay. Now, and I can say that because certainly as Pieter is, quite as old. Marilyn in Canada would like to know what both of you do when you're not sitting on this log uncomfortably staring at the fire and sharing stories. Hayden?
Well, I manage a wildlife education centre in England as well. It's a charity, and it teaches British kids about their wildlife in their own backyard, and not to forget that their own backyard is as important as the rest of the world. With the internet and with the technology we have these days, it can be quite easy for children in developed countries to just leapfrog over their own wildlife and go straight abroad to a rainforest or to Africa or whatever. And I think, as you know, Safari Live is a great catalyst for getting them outside and turning those little that wild child sort of syndrome that I love to try and put forth. But that's what I do most of the time, and I also take safaris to Uganda and Namibia and places like that. So that's what I get up to.
Segues nicely into Pieter in Namibia.
Yes.
Yes, we actually did see each other for a very brief visit.
We did.
Hayden was visiting with some guests, and they flew into Swakop to stop quickly to refuel. He made a plan so they had to get fuel. And we took his guests for ice cream and a little cruise around town, so that was good fun. Myself, I'm a little bit, I was going to use the Chuck Norris comparison, but that would just come out wrong, so I'm not going to.
Really go with it.
I'm a bit
Go
like
on.
Chuck Norris, I'm waiting. Most of the time I'm just waiting to come here again. That's what I sort of do most of the time. But no, jokes aside, I've got a family, which, you know, I think anyone that has a family can agree. It's the most beautiful thing to see the next generation, and to see that, you know, small animal growing up which is related to you is just amazing. So that by far I would say is the most important thing in my life, is just doing that and raising a family and having my kids exposed to this. I'd love my kids to know these guys well, and, you know, be like these guys in some ways at least.
Yes, not always.
You know, they can be beautiful like Jamie for my daughter, but, you know, they can be fun like these guys. But anyway. And then we run a business called Mola Mola Safaris. We do these dolphin and seal cruises around Walvis Bay, which Walvis Bay is at the end of nowhere. If you go to the middle of nowhere and you keep going until you hit the coast, that's where we are. Beautiful place, biggest dunes in the world, oldest desert. Do these 4x4 tours into the dunes with Land Rovers, so a lot of fun. But yeah, I do those things, to be honest with you, while I wait to come back here. Absolutely, this is what I do.
Pieter, Will from Colorado would like to know where you've lived before and where you were actually born, because you were not from Namibia originally, are you?
I was born in Namibia.
Okay.
Born in Windhoek, lived all over the country, schooled mainly in Windhoek, actually went to Hoedspruit for a year year and a half, standard 1 and 2. And my father's from the Lowveld, so we came here a lot. Hilton Head Island. Lived in the UK for a bit, all over South Africa, all over, but the single place I've lived at the longest in my collective life is Djuma, actually. All the guiding years and WildEarth years, and adding the last, visits here.
Things that you wish could happen, but you think could never happen. So Pete and I were setting up for our first fireside chat, and Pieter was coming to join me. Whoever had the animal, they would stay with, and the other person would come to the fireside. Excuse me, I'm just going to move up a little bit. And we set up, we were facing that direction, and I knew Pieter was coming, was with Kanyuma the leopard, and that was going to be a beautiful thing to finish on and then come and sit around the fire and talk about it. But sure enough, Kanyuma walked into our fireside chat.
Scott, I think that might have made it worse.
Walked into our fireside chat and sat in the tree behind us while Pieter drove up, and there's a shot of me sitting there with the fire in the smoke. And Kanyuma the leopard sitting up in the tree behind. So that's one of my special memories. You can't plan that. You can't script that. There's no way in the world. And it was one of the most incredible memories.
Well, that's much better, thank you.
I've ever had. So hopefully that answers your question. And thank you very much. Great to have you with us.
Marvellous. Okay, thank you for that, Hayden. All right, we got a question from Deb in Ohio. Deb, thank you for your question. It was profoundly emotional. He would like to know where all of the skulls came from. Were they from here or from other parts of the world? They're all, as far as I know, from here. Some of them belong to the landowner Yuri. Others we've collected around the place.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of quarantine is denuded of all artifacts now as a result of the tents starting a little while back. So yes, thank you very much for that, Deb. Pieter, do you have a specific memory?
This might be one of them, actually.
Yes.
We sat around the fire and the smoke was more than usual. James had tears in his eyes, Hayden was crying, Scott's eyes were looking even prettier than usual. So this would have to be up there. I mean, it's also the most recent, so I can remember it the easiest. I was 40 now, like you, James. So.
Yes, I know, we're not young anymore.
That one would be one of them. The leopard walking, I mean, that's just, for that to happen, I mean, any of you guys, for that to happen, it's insane. Then the second day of those drives, the lion killing after that, we killed 4 buffalo, that was great.
Outrageous.
One that will stick out for me for quite a long time was the last drive before this round in October, where that lion, Scott was right in there as well, busy with the tracking and helping to find that leopard. Again, just the odds of that happening was just
incredible.
1,000,000 to 1.
Incredible.
And just everything, the way it happened, and the energy and everything. So those are ones that stick out. Another one that really sticks out to me is, and not to get too personal here, but was meeting my wife, re-meeting her after school and the whole story, and she came out here, and the first visit here was amazing. We had an incredible time with the elephant I like. So we can keep going until Big Cat Week if you want. But yeah, tonight's one would be one that I will remember. Yes. All of you at the second, it's amazing. Your eyes are shining because of partly the tears, really blue eyes, all of them. So, what a crowd to be with. So my most recent memory is just you guys, the amazing team that Graham has got here. So this would be my memory now, being here with you guys.
Thank you for that. And then a question from little Gracie, aged 8 in Ohio. Gracie, pertinent question today, of course, is Thanksgiving in the United States. And we don't have it here. We kind of celebrate Christmas in the same way that you can celebrate Thanksgiving. But you want to know if wild dogs eat turkeys. Gracie, that's a very good question. If we had turkeys here, they would definitely eat turkeys. They love them.
Every day, twice a day.
But we don't have any turkeys here, Gracie. We do have guinea fowl, but guinea fowl are very good at flying, so they get out of the way of the wild dogs. Right, that's it from us tonight. We're going to have a brief song after we've said goodbye to you all. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hayden.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pieter.
everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm going to sing you, well, you won't get the whole song. I'm going to sing you a little piece of the song. And it's a very hot, sticky kind of night, but there's immense romance about the African wild. And as Pieter's just shared with you, one of his favorite memories of being out here was spending time with who is now your wife. And I hope to meet her one day, of course. But this is a song that I wrote around that kind of subject, where being in the bush is just a tremendously romantic thing on these hot kind of summer nights when the insects are singing and you're sitting around a fire like this and the stories are flowing around. And it's called Catch the Falling Light. We will see you tomorrow at 0500 for the Dawn Safari. Bye-bye. Sipping G&T's for a while, the dove threw soft light on your smile. A guitar was playing Clapton somewhere inside. The calling crickets thick in the night, the moth flapped down the yellow porch light. The hot air was thick and heavy with the summer. And I'm fighting in the loneliness of you. I'm searching for your heart in the heat. Catch the falling light. I didn't realise how appropriate that smoke line was. Oh, an owl called from a knobbly tree. The old porch creaked as she danced with me. The noise of the party inside I can hardly remember. I didn't even know her well. There were so many things she wouldn't tell, but I smile every time my mind goes wandering back there. To catch the falling light. Oh, I can feel it, it's hanging in the half-light. Oh, the laughter floating upwards on the fireside. Oh, the beer-colored stories, they lift and then they fly. There's such a careless flow about your eyes. This is the bridge you can dance.